I want to get into the TNA ratings breakdown. So TNA Thursday Night Impact on February 26, 2026 pulled in 233,000 viewers with a 0.03 rating in the demo. The steady on viewers, it matches last week, so exactly the same as the week before. Although I don't know if there's a decimal, Dave. Is there a decimal point on that one, Dave? I don't know. Haven't heard. But a sharp 40% drop in the demo from 0.05, or as Dave told me, 0.046, and maybe that's not as sharp, depending on what the unrounded number of the demo is this week, which we didn't get. I don't know why we didn't get a unrounded demo this week. Maybe because it's higher than what was being reported. I don't know. It seems weird, but this ties the lowest demo since moving to AMC. That was from January 22nd. These figures, obviously exclude AMC Plus and TNA Plus. So it ranked 96th. So that would be the lowest ranked episode since they've been on AMC. 96 in primetime cable behind shows like Impractical Jokers. This suggests stability in total audience, but a concerning demo slide potentially due to competition or creative fatigue. Obviously not good that the demo dropped significantly like that, but the viewership staying the same is pretty good. And they're on a 4-week running average of like 232,000. So I think like 230 is like their new normal. A year from now is probably going to be lower. It won't stay that way all the way through the year because during football season, I would expect it to drop significantly, probably a 10 to 15% drop. So it's going to be hovering down at the bottom of 200,000, maybe even below. But right now, they're doing good. Yeah, Gerard says 5 straight weeks over 200,000. And it's four straight weeks over 230. So there you go. That is the ratings. So one of the reasons why I think it might have dropped, because I don't think they had the Olympics weren't on this past week. I don't think. I'm pretty sure they weren't. They were the week before whenever they did get that drop, but they weren't this past week. The lead-in was Jurassic Park, which that movie's old. So I don't think anybody's clamoring to see the original Jurassic Park from 1993. I went and saw that in theaters when I was 10. So when they have movies that are newer and bigger, like Guardians of the Galaxy, John Wick 4, they typically do better. So Jurassic Park being the lead-in was not helpful, I would say. I don't know what the numbers were there. I didn't look. So maybe I should have looked before I went on the air because I just now was thinking about it. But that wasn't helpful. But I think ultimately what it says is that they turned off some of their younger viewers because they didn't really have anything for people to come watch. The main event, like I didn't think the show was bad, but I wasn't excited to watch the show like I was the week before because they actually had a well-built match the week before with Mustafa Ali and Elijah in that casket match. I thought it did a good job of making it a marquee match and a big main event. Now, I know that show didn't do great either, but it was also against stiff competition from the Olympics. During, not this past week, but the previous week, the casket match, the Olympics were up significantly from the night before. Like, TNA had way stiffer competition from the Olympics on Thursday night than AEW did on the Wednesday night, which I think it was Dobby that looked that up, and that was crazy. So for them to hold up as well as they did with the demo drop going from 0.54 down to 0.46, that's actually pretty good considering the competition that they had. So this week, I don't think there was a really good excuse other than they didn't do a good enough job of bringing in viewers. They didn't have a good enough show, and that's what happens. I think the Steve Macklin storyline is good, and they talked about him coming back to say why he did what he did, but apparently it wasn't enough to hook people in. Mickie James coming back, not enough to hook in younger viewers. She's older, and that's more of like an over 40 demo type of deal, right? So that 18 to 49, like you're probably like 25 to 54 did pretty good. Over 50 viewers did pretty good because, Mickey James, and I love her, still looks amazing. But that is a talent from the past that you're not going to hook in young viewers with that. And then, the Hardy Boys and the Righteous against the System, that's not a big match. We've seen that match so many freaking times. So, that wasn't anything that anybody's going to come back to see. That's not anything that anybody's like really all that interested in. I don't have anything against the Hardys and the Righteous feud. I just don't think it's all that interesting. So, they got to figure something out to get people invested and get and heat up the product a little bit because, 2 weeks in a row that it's dropped. So, and this week's drop was the lowest since it's been on AMC as far as the demo goes. What they got coming up this week in Atlanta, they actually have a pretty good card on Thursday night. Let me get to that. I have it here on my phone. I have a bunch of notes in my phone. Okay. So, Atlanta on Thursday night, they got Leon Slater versus Nick Nemeth. I wonder if they've done a good job of promoting that. I know that they've done it on the show, but I haven't really seen a ton of promotion out there. I wonder if they've done a good enough job. We'll see if the rating holds up, but they got Leon Slater versus Nick Nemeth, Ariana Grace versus Jody Threat. Jody Threat won the Battle Royal, so that's for the Knockout title. I think Grace wins that. The Righteous, there's a fatal four-way. The Righteous versus the System versus Sinner and Saint versus Rich Swann and BDE. That's a big match. That's a big match there. So we'll see. And I think that's a number one contenders match. So I'm curious as to I would assume that the System wins that one. So they got the matches this week. Have they done enough to make it interesting? I don't know. We'll see. I'm certainly intrigued by Leon Slater versus Nick Nemeth, and I'm curious if Nemeth wins that. I could see a situation where he loses, attacks Leon after the match, cashes in his gauntlet trophy, and then wins the title. I could see something like that. That would at least be different than what they've normally done. So, ticket sales for this week. So, I have the most up to date in my pictures here. Ticket sales for Thursday, they got 1,285 out, and the current setup is 1,922. My buddy Dobby says Thursday should be about 1,500 by bell time, which would be short of what their expectations were. Expectations are 1,922 because that's what they put on sale. So if they don't reach those expectations, they didn't meet their goal. Ultimately, it's a failed experiment. So I don't see them getting to that 1,900 number, not unless they bust in a bunch of homeless people from around the city. And then the same number is out for Thursday night or for Friday night, 1,254. That's pretty curious. I wonder if they just if they got a bunch of comps out and then got them out to the local population. Speaking of comp tickets, I'll be there on Friday night. I got to go to Will Call and give them my name, and they'll give me a ticket, so that's cool. I don't think I'm going to be up front, although I should have asked for Bill Gardner's spot, like put me right next to him. But I think that guy, he obviously makes some dough. So, and TNA makes a lot of money off that guy. So I don't think they're doing that. But Friday, 1,254. So looking at probably 1,500 both nights. So not too bad. But again, they set the expectation. They set their goal. Their goal was 1,900. It looks like they're going to fall short of that. So that is not good for them. But we shall see how it goes. I will be there on Friday night. I'll take lots of pictures. I don't know that I'm going to podcast on Friday night because the show's going to go until like 11, and then I got to be up at 5 in the morning. I got to hit the road at 6, be back in my house by 10 because my daughter has a birthday party she needs to get to. So I got to watch the boy. So I have a tight window where I need to get home on Saturday. So I'm not going to be able to, do a lot. I'm probably going to go to the show, come right back. My hotel is close to the venue. I'm going to come right back, and then I'll pick it. Then I got to head right back home. It's a 4-hour drive from Atlanta to Charlotte. So I'm starting to lose my voice, so I apologize for the sound. Okay, let me get to the chat. let's see. Chad Schultz says he thinks it was the closing ceremony. Was the closing ceremony going head to head with Impact last week? I didn't hear that. I didn't hear about that. Let's see. Oh, also I missed this one. Said doing great from a good old Nebraska. I saw your tweet about AFI. Them, Filter, and Against Me were my bands in my younger fun days. AFI's newest album it was pretty good. Yeah, so I the story that he's referencing, I went to a festival in St. Louis called, I think it was called Point Fest. It would have been like 2002, 2003 timeframe, right around there. It was before I joined the military. And the festival essentially got rained out. And no, it might have been a Warp Tour. Now that I think about it, it might have been Warp Tour, because they did Warp Tour and then they did like a heavy metal festival in that same venue in Maryland Heights. I think it's called Maryland Heights, right outside of St. Louis in the Riverport Amphitheater. I don't know what it's called now, but this is a long time ago. And before AFI came on, it just started pissing rain and thunder and lightning, and AFI refused to come out due to safety reasons. I don't blame them for that, but they didn't even come out in front of the crowd. They didn't talk to anybody. They didn't do anything. They just kind of left, right? They were gone. But Andrew WK, who had performed earlier, and I saw him perform, he did great. This was when at his height. He only really had 2 songs that were popular, but he was like one of the more popular acts at the show. He came out and just hung out with us in the rain, like hugging people, taking pictures and signing autographs and all that shit. So I'll always respect Andrew WK for the way he treated us back then. That was really cool. He didn't have to do that, and he did. So I'll always respect him for that. This week's lead-in for Impact is even older, Die Hard 2. Well, yeah, I mean, it's American movie classics, right? So that's what they do, classic movies. Like, that's on the marquee. Let's see. They need to move that story along already, says Gerard. I think he's talking about the Righteous and the Hardys. I agree. I'm kind of like ready to get to where they're going with that. Like, we all know what's going to happen. Let's just fucking get there. I'm sure there's going to be a couple of twists.